the Health Hub Show. I'm your favorite host, Nyambura Kamau. But before I proceed na niwape something that I have been preparing for you, nataka kuwakumbusha. Usikubali vitu zako kwa nyumba zileak. Usikubali vitu zako ziharibike. We are here for you. We connect you with your business partners or anything you need. Kama ni piping, kama ni fittings, we got your person. And ni pelezi. Usipitwe, pelezi. Yes, that is the right business, the right hardware for you. Pale Kubukubu Road, along Blue Line, next to Blue Line actually. So don't miss out, tupatane hapo. Nimetoka kuambia some secrets. Napenda hawa watu viewers wangu. But before that, we love our health and we love focusing about our health. So daktari,
yes.
Ebu tukumbushe jina kwa wenye walisahau ama new audience.
Yes.
Na leo umetuletea nini, because you always bring something amazing and enticing.
Nashukuru Madam Nyambura. Thank you for giving me another chance.
Okay, welcome.
To let people understand about their health. That we get to understand what is happening in our bodies.
True.
So my name is Moses Murungi. I am a lab technologist based at Arimi Clinical Laboratories in Embu. And we offer diagnostic services.
Okay.
And apart from that, we like helping people to understand exactly what is happening within their bodies.
Okay.
And that way, they may have a chance at improving their day-to-day lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you as well. So today, I have a very sensitive topic, but it touches a bigger range of people.
Yes.
So
yes.
I want us to talk about STIs.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
I know you're well informed since you're an expert.
Yes.
Now, can you tell us what is the real meaning, a definition of STIs?
Thank you, Nyambura. Now, STIs are to do with sexual health. And we usually have some infections that may affect one or two areas that are to do with the sexual part of our bodies.
Okay.
So we call them sexually transmitted infections, and they are quite broad. Majority of the people may not know the full range of these infections. So I will wish to bring to them the whole range of what we usually test in a lab. That way they may also have control over their own bodies.
Oh, thank you very much. So basically,
yes,
STIs are sexually transmitted infections.
Correct.
So ni zote. See, it's not something.
Correct.
It's not one sickness.
It is not one sickness, Nyambura. They're quite a number. Majority of the people will usually know one or two, but we have a whole range of infections. And these infections are primarily transmitted from one person to the other via the sexual act.
Okay.
And it is not only within that confine, but we may also have through the oral route.
Okay.
Because we usually have other forms of, let me say, sexual acts. So oral. Others could actually be passed from a mother to a child during birth. Correct.
Oh.
Yes, it does.
That is
happen.
shocking. That is shocking.
Although mainly it is usually through the sexual act.
So let's shift a little.
Yes.
So these are the main modes of transmission.
Correct. Those are the modes of transmission. But the main one is via the sexual act, where one person has an infection and it is transmitted to the other party via the sexual act.
Wow.
Yes.
So, tumesikia hiyo STIs.
Yes.
Leo, the topic is very sensitive actually,
correct,
as they said,
correct.
Because it involves a very large group of people.
It is unspoken. People speak about it in hushed tones.
And hidden.
It is hidden, but these are things that are there. And majority of them are actually treatable. And we also want to take the perspective of that they are preventable.
Oh, so there is
So
a cure.
apart from treatment,
Uh-huh.
we can always and also prevent the acquisition of these organisms.
Well, so can you give us types
Yes.
of STIs?
Yes, yes. Now, let me say this: majority of the people who will usually present themselves in a lab will usually have physical manifestations.
Okay.
And when it comes to the types of the STIs, we mainly have three groups.
Okay.
We have what we call bacterial infections,
Okay.
and then we also have another group of organisms that we call protozoan infections. And then the final one is viral infections. Okay. Now, if I may very briefly touch on these infections, the most common that we'll usually have will be bacterial.
Okay.
And the bacterial infections are mainly three. Okay.
Okay.
And the first one is what we call syphilis. Okay.
I hope my viewers are noting this.
This is syphilis as the first one. And then the second one is gonorrhea.
Okay.
Okay. And then the third one, under the bacterial group, we call it chlamydia. Okay. Now, apart from these bacterial infections, we also have one caused by a group of organisms that we call protozoa, and what is commonly called amoeba. I know majority of the viewers will usually have encountered amoeba, but within the intestinal tract.
Actually, that is what I have had.
Oh, yes.
Only.
But apart from the intestinal tract, we also have some amoeba that affect the urinary system.
Oh.
Yes. And we usually call it trichomonas, or the infection, we'll call it trichomoniasis. Trichomoniasis. Okay? There is a particular organism that we call Trichomonas vaginalis, and that is an amoeba, but it inhabits the urinary system. There's also one other, but I will not dwell on it, that affects the gums. We call it Trichomonas gingivalis.
That is still
But,
transferred.
oh yes, it's still
sexual.
an amoeba.
Oh, it's an amoeba because where?
It is an amoeba. But what I want to let you know is they not only affect the intestinal system or tract, but we also have other areas that can be affected. And for the topic of today, we will deal with one that affects the urinary system, and we call it Trichomonas vaginalis. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, apart from that protozoan, we also have the viral infections that are transmitted sexually.
Okay.
And the most common is, of course, HIV. That one tends to be the most common.
The most known,
Where
actually.
a majority of the people will come and say, I want to do a HIV test. But it is not the only viral infection.
Okay.
Okay. We have one that is becoming a major issue, and this is hepatitis B virus that is also transmitted sexually. Okay.
Yeah.
Apart from that, we have what we call human papilloma virus, or HPV, that is also transmitted sexually. And then we also have what we call herpes simplex virus.
Okay.
Yes. So those are the four that are transmitted sexually. That is under the viral infections.
Oh.
Yes. Now, when it comes to these infections,
Yeah.
the symptoms vary. Okay.
Oh, depending on the type of sickness.
Depending on the type of infection.
Okay.
And quite a number of them do not actually show any symptoms.
Oh.
That is a strange thing. And I will cover that among what we'll call the misconceptions.
Oh, okay.
So, majority of the people who will present themselves in a lab will usually come and say that I'm either experiencing pain when passing urine, or there's some kind of discharge that I'm experiencing, or a burning sensation that I'm experiencing. A few, and especially the men, will even have swelling of the organ.
Wow.
Okay. Now, the primary detection for these ones will usually be either urine, okay, for the males or females, or when it comes to the females, we could also do what we call a high vaginal swab. It's just a sterile swab that is inserted within the vaginal cavity, and then we examine.
Wow, before we talk about all that, and we know how to test, the symptoms that can bring us to you for the testing, because automatically usitatutuma kwako.
Yes.
And as we head out for a short break, nataka kuwakumbusha, when you need your fittings inside your house, kama ni plumbing, ama ni sinks, don't let anything leak in your house, because Perezi Hardware is here for you. Kubukubu Road, hapo tu next to Blue Line.
Welcome to Minor Highway and Highway Court Hotel, where comfort meets convenience. We pride ourselves in offering top-notch conference facilities, perfect for your business meetings, seminars, and events. Our state-of-the-art conference rooms are equipped to cater for all your professional needs. Enjoy a refreshing hot shower in our self-contained rooms, each featuring modern amenities and a comfortable setup. For your convenience, we offer lift lodging facilities, making access to all floors easy and hassle-free. Indulge in our delicious snacks and savor the flavors of fresh seasonal fruits and vegetables. Quench your thirst with our freshly squeezed juices made to order for your enjoyment. Book with us today. Call 0722-827-700 or 0722-831-226.
Found you when your heart was broke. I filled your cup until it overflowed. Took it so far to keep you close. Crashing, hit a wall. Right now, I need a miracle. I'm unstoppable. I'm a virgin with some brakes.
Welcome to Dunamis Roark, your trusted partner in property management. We provide exceptional service and personalized care to ensure your properties are well maintained and your tenants happy. From regular maintenance and inspections to handling tenant concerns, we've got you covered. Our dedicated team is always available to provide support and solutions, ensuring peace of mind for property owners and residents alike. Choose Dunamis Roark for reliable professional and caring property management services. Contact us today on 0793 309 325 or 0790 245 575.
Welcome back to the Health Hub show, and I'm still your host Nyambura Kamau. Before we proceed again, let me remind you, Perezi Hardware, they don't just do the fittings. They sell things in wholesale. Ukitaka anything wholesale and retailer, they got you covered. So, wewe relax and they will solve your problem. So, Daktari, welcome back and tusonge tukisongana, si ndio?
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
hi, I want us to talk about, okay, the presentation. How, I don't know how to put it, but previously ulisema kuna zenye haziko detected, hazitaonekana, hazita manifest physically.
True.
So how do we get to know ama what?
Okay. Now, Nyambura, we may have several reasons to why we might want to screen for the sexually transmitted infections. The primary reason is the manifestation of symptoms. That somebody is experiencing symptoms within, let me say, the urinary system, and one might be interested in finding on if whatever symptom he or she is exhibiting is out of a sexually transmitted infection, or whether it is just a normal bacterial infection.
Okay.
So the first reason to why people present themselves is the appearance of symptoms.
Okay.
That one is not feeling well, and one wants to check whether he or she or whether they are suffering from a sexually transmitted infection.
Okay.
The second reason that we usually get quite a number of times is based on couples who want to get married and they want to do a screen on if any of the partners may be having any of the sexually transmitted infections.
Okay.
Many of them will come to a facility and say, I want to do a HIV test.
Okay.
But that is just one. We have others that are necessary,
Okay.
and especially before marriage.
Oh.
Other reasons that may be there may include travel, let me say, reasons, where one is required to go, let's say, out of the country, and it's among the panel of tests that one may wish probably to do, or admission to an educational institution may come as part of the tests that are done. And then finally would be work-related tests, where as a requirement, one is supposed to do some medicals, and part of those medical tests are to do with sexually transmitted infection screening. So those are, in essence, the reasons to why we do the screening for the sexually transmitted infections.
Daktari,
Yes.
since hizi ni vitu zimetulimit ama zinatupia reason ya kwenda kutestiwa,
Yes.
do you think it's wise to wait until that time yenye naitishwa nikatestiwe to go tested ama to go for a screening?
No, once in a while, and especially if you're within, let me say, a certain age group, or you've had exposure to, sex, then it may be wise to occasionally just
Go for
have a check.
Okay.
Now, majority of those who will come to the facility, sorry to say this, will usually be men.
Oh.
And the most common of the sexually transmitted infections will usually be gonorrhea.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the symptoms, or rather how it presents itself, is more or less a burning sensation when urinating, and may also involve swelling of the organ. And a very common manifestation is what you call the appearance of a discharge from the male organ.
Oh.
It's more or less like pus that is coming out of the male organ, and there's also a burning sensation. Now, when it comes to gonorrhea, it is more readily detected in the lab from the males.
From the males,
From the
not from
males.
the females.
Not from
Actually,
the
I was
females.
preparing a question on that.
Yes.
Can a woman hide?
Oh,
Then-
yes, it tends to be acquired infection with the females.
with the females.
With the females.
And it doesn't affect their health or anything.
Majority of the times, absolutely no harm initially, but they will harbor the infection. But gradually, it ends up, let me say, messing the organs.
Oh,
Yes, so it tends to be a very quiet infection. But once the male and female come together, within a week, the symptoms will usually have manifested themselves in the male.
okay.
So the moment a male comes, a burning sensation when urinating, I'm having a discharge, and we do a test and we find it is gonorrhea. We'll usually check the urine, or we will get what you call a urethral swab. It's more or less just a swab that has, let me say, some sterile cotton, and you pick the discharge, and then you do some testing on it.
Okay.
And the moment it is positive, we'll usually move from the male and treat both the male and, the female.
female.
Correct.
So
Otherwise, if you only treat the male and you do not treat the female, the infection will always come back.
oh,
So you get a cycle.
I see.
Now, that is gonorrhea. Apart from that, similar symptoms will also be presented with chlamydia. Chlamydia as the second infection. And chlamydia, in the absence of getting it from the urine, that is gonorrhea, the second one will usually be chlamydia. But chlamydia, we usually use blood. There is a kit for that that checks for antibodies against that infection.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the other infections may not present themselves in a similar way. When it comes to syphilis, we'll usually get a pimple. We call it a chancre. It is a pimple that has, let me say, some fluid in it, and it is painless.
Painless.
It is totally painless and usually lasts about 1 week.
Location?
Within the genital area of both males and females. Okay. Now, when it comes to syphilis, it usually has stages. And the first stage is what we call the primary stage. And the only issue that appears is a painless pimple within the genital area. No pain, no discomfort, and it disappears by itself. We will not have any other symptoms initially. So it will usually move to the secondary stage, which may present itself in the form of a rash. Okay. Then to what you call the latent stage, no symptoms, and then what you call the tertiary stage, and that is the point where now all symptoms will usually appear. And unfortunately, these symptoms will not usually involve the sexual organs, but it affects the internal organs. Kidneys, heart, liver, okay? So you can actually have somebody who is harboring the syphilis organism, but they are not exhibiting any symptoms. Okay, so it becomes an important screen, and especially when you talk about premarital testing, that one may not have the symptoms, but it is good to check. Okay, and there are tests that will usually check for the syphilis organism. Okay. Now, the last under what you call protozoan infections is what you call trichomonas infection. And this one more or less just presents itself as itchiness, feeling discomfort, feeling itchy. Okay. And we'll usually check urine or what you call a HPS swab for that. Okay. Now, the others are more or less to do with blood, and these are viral infections. Okay. And HIV tends to be the most common, but we also have hepatitis B that seems to be causing quite some problems, Nyambura. And the main symptom when it comes to hepatitis B is what we call jaundice. Okay, or apart from that, general body weakness. But the moment one is either having yellowness in the eyes or passing urine that is quite yellow, deep yellow, then we may query whether this person has hepatitis B. Now, with hepatitis B, we can either have what you call the acute phase, of which you will acquire that infection, and the body is able to overcome it by itself. Okay. If it is not able to overcome by itself, then we shall move to the chronic phase. And this tends to be now a lifetime infection. You just live with that virus. Eventually, if untreated, for a percentage of the people, will usually result in cancer of the liver. So it is also a serious infection that is transmitted sexually.
I have a burning question.
Yes,
It's very
Nyambura.
burning.
Yes,
So, on the ladies' part,
yes,
let's say they have fungi or bacteria within them,
yes.
can it cause any effect on the male?
Yes, and I will cover that within a very short duration. It is possible. I will cover that in a short while. Now, the other issue that we may have is the appearance of pimples that contain fluid within the genital area. Okay? And they will usually happen, they flare, they disappear, and then they come back. Now, the most common cause is what we call herpes simplex virus. Okay, and this herpes simplex virus has two types, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 will usually involve the lips, what you call the cold sores. But that is the appearance of, you've probably like chicken pox, but within the oral cavity. And we also have type 2, of which we have the same pimples, but appearing within the genital area. Now, these will usually be detected by blood tests. Okay? You may have somebody complaining of that. They appear, they are very itchy, then by themselves they disappear. So these will also be lifelong. You will have them for the rest of your life, and there's medication to more or less bring them down.
Well,
Okay?
well,
Yes.
time is not on our side.
Yes, yes.
So I think I will just invite you for another session because
Okay.
this topic is broad.
Yes.
So I
yes.
don't like keeping my audience waiting, and
Yes.
I keep my promises.
Yes.
So I will bring you back again because I know by now
Yes.
the audience is asking questions and questions and questions. So the next session that I want to come,
Yes.
I want us to go through their questions
Yes.
because
Yes.
of they really want to know a lot.
Yes.
So let me call it a session.
Yes.
But before I go, how can they get to you? How can they get to come in for a screening?
Okay. Now, I'm based at Aremi Clinical Laboratories, and we are opposite Urban Primary School. That is on the ground floor of ACK Plaza. So our telephone numbers are 0721 258 232. So karibuni sana, and we will be happy to assist.
Thank you very much. This is the Health Hub Show, and thank you for enjoying. So, till we meet next time, next show. But before I go, let me remind you again, Pelezi Hardware is here for you. Any fittings, any wholesale or retail products you need, vitu za choo, sinks, plumbing, anything you need, they are here for you. So, keep up Kubu Kubu Road next to Blue Line.